Welcome back. It is still Nigeria Decides. Of course, today we are waiting for the collation of different states for the gubernatorial election, which took place yesterday, the 18th of March, 2023. Of course, we know that it was postponed from the 11th of March so that INEC claimed to have some inadequacies, which they wanted to correct. And such about came the postponement of these elections across 28 states in the Federation. About now, we're also going to be talking about collations, and of course, we know that collation has started in Oyo State at the moment. Collation in Oyo State has started, and we will keep you informed about the situation report for other states as soon as they keep trickling in. About now, we are going to be speaking with Matthew Oluku, who is a seasoned public affairs analyst, and we are going to be talking about his views and his thoughts about the deferment of collation and possible outcome should, in the event that one party wins against the other parties, and the agitations and the fears, and how Nigerians should react to whatever news the outcome of the election brings by. Mr. Matthew Oluku, good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Right about now, we are talking about the coalition and, of course, the deferment of the coalition since yesterday into today. We know that some polling units were yet to submit to the local government, which caused a lot of delays, and of course, some polling units registration have also been made on the IRF portal, which some of us have been able to view thus far, but there are still hitches here and there. What do you think could be the possible reasons for INEC? Could we have tagged it under logistics, or could we have said manpower, or could we have said the process in general was a bit flawed on one or two things?
Once again, thank you for having me. I think INEC is not efficient in managing this electoral process, because if they give us excuse of network glitch during the presidential election, though we are not yet satisfied with the explanation they gave, and now we are seeing a situation where an election that is within the state, as we speak, up to now, there is no state you can say election have been concluded and a governor have emerged winner-elect. So for me, it's a thing of concern. Because if you look at it from the angle of their guideline in terms of uploading the election results directly from the polling units, by now I think we should not be speaking in this manner. Because if actually they uploaded all the results from the polling units to the IRF and the INEC servers as when due, it's simple. You as a political party that participated in that election, you as INEC as a body, even the media houses and observers can have your own separate situation room from where you collate all the results coming into that IRF and the INEC server, and eventually it will tally with whatever result that will be collated by INEC from ward level, from unit level to ward level to local government level before it finally arrive at the state. So for me, I think there's every cause to worry, because by the time you keep delaying, by the time you take away the result from the polling unit from where it was voted, you take away the result from the people that have the ability to protect the votes. So for me, today is a thing of concern, and I'm not comfortable with the delay.
Okay, for looking at that, we know that yesterday VGC wasn't able to vote, and information reaching us now has it that voting is about to begin. And categorically, the reason we know was alleged that why VGC was not able to vote, according to videos that some of the VGC residents put out on social media for our awareness and information, was due to the fact that their polling units used to be inside the estate, which I presume guaranteed them a bit of safety so far they were within the confines of their estate. And they were alleging INEC that yesterday's election was moved outside their estates, thereby opening them up to different illegal vices or different vices that could come with possible election or election manipulations. What do you think about this decision for INEC, and where do you think INEC really stands? Does INEC stand with the security of the people, or thinking about the security of their personnel too?
Okay, for me, I think it's a good thing that they have been rescheduled, because the only thing you didn't mention was that INEC in their own position said that the adult staff, or rather their staff is sent to that environment during the presidential election, that they were held hostage. That this time around, that their staffs were wary, scared of going there. But I do not buy into that INEC's position. Because how can you make people vulnerable to be attacked? We are talking about how to safeguard lives. People who are coming out to exercise their civil responsibility. You want to go and erect voting stand along the road. For me, it was a misnomer, and it was a good thing that the people resisted it and demanded that they have to exercise their right of voting. And it's a good thing as well that we have been rescheduled. I think this rescheduling will afford all the stakeholders opportunity to give it a priority attention, because as it stands today, you cannot say because the security agencies are stretched, they don't have enough manpower to police the whole state. But since it is in an isolated environment, they will have adequate security to protect people who will be coming out there to vote. For me, I think it's a welcome development that they resisted going to the road where they could be vulnerable to be attacked, and two, they insisted that they must exercise their right of voting. Now we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel that INEC have given them the leverage to do that today.
To exercise their franchise.
I would like to get your thoughts, because earlier on we played some chaotic videos of violence around some polling unit, and of course which was something very scary for people. And now that brings me to the question, which I would like to hear your thoughts is, do you think technology should be advanced so that it could help this election, the voting system, the process, so that it will make people feel safe? They don't have to come out and, risk their lives or something like that.
I think I'd like to buttress on her question, putting in cognizance the way BVN worked for everybody and shaped us to be formal, to be upright.
To be quite honest with you, we need to involve more technology in the electoral process. There's no argument about that. But again, I think even as you have technology, you need people with integrity to manage it, to man it. Okay. Otherwise, all the essence of bringing that technology will be undermined. Take for instance what the INEC spokesperson, by Professor Koyi, told us before this round, all the election started. He was always on media telling us that the beavers is the ultimate arbiter, meaning the ultimate judge. But with what we had during the presidential election, to what extent can we say the beavers was the ultimate judge? A situation where, as we speak, I'm not sure INEC currently have 100% of accredited voters for that presidential election in their IRF and INEC server. And these are part of what you are supposed to rely on to arrive at the winner of the election, to return a winner. So for me, I think it is good we involve more technology, and I think it's good we strengthen the ground norm, we strengthen the Electoral Act to remove this pernicious human interference. Because the more you have human interference or human activity, the more you are likely going to have issues. Because we are seeing that it is very difficult, it is like a Herculean task to find Nigerians with integrity to trust with that responsibility of managing the electoral process. Because I've seen a video on social media anyway, where a supposed presiding officer was complaining that he could not start the process because the beavers machine or device that was given to him was configured to have the date of 25th of last month. So invariably, it means it is still reading that
presidential election.
So I don't know how true that is, but if that is true, it's going to show that the personnel who were saddled with responsibility of reconfiguring the beavers may have compromised.
So how long you
what I'm trying to say in essence is there should be laws that tie the hand of INEC so that they must deploy technology, otherwise the process should be rendered null.
When there are laws, how about consequences?
What I'm saying is the law currently gives INEC discretionary power, and as we have seen, INEC is abusing that discretion. So it goes to show that INEC is not honorable enough to be allowed to exercise discretion when it comes to election management. Like what we have in Lagos currently, a particular political party went to court before this
gubernatorial election
and House of Assembly election, and the court gave an order, or judgment rather, that for the purpose of this election, result in Lagos State must be transmitted electronically. So invariably, it costs us INEC to obey their own guideline, because I think number 37 of their guideline specifically say that they shall upload
Section
election
37.
results electronically. That they couldn't do during the presidential election, and they gave excuse of network glitch. But this time around, a court is saying you must comply with it. And I think at the end of the day, we may see people who are aggrieved, who will rely on that judgment to challenge the process.
So moving on to your question, please.
Okay, you said we need to reduce as much as possible the human power involved during the election process. So I asked, how long do you think it would take INEC or Nigeria to actually adopt the technology process of our elections? And like, how long do you think it would actually take for us to achieve that goal?
I don't think the time is I don't think we have challenge with the time. The challenge we are having is having people who are responsible, who are patriotic enough to do the right thing. Because if you take a look at the off-cycle elections of Ekiti, Osun, Anambra, you agree with me that INEC uploaded election result in those states electronically as and when due.
In real time, according to the
so if that was achieved, why is it that in this round of election, even as we have we are conducting the gubernatorial election and state house assembly election, why is it that as we speak, INEC have not been able to upload election results from all the polling units? And it's understandable that everywhere election was conducted yesterday, election results have moved from the polling unit to the ward level. If not, even as we speak, they may have gotten to the point of local government. It implies that anyone that the result have not been uploaded by now is not originating directly from the polling unit. So how can you, what excuse would INEC give us now that this is the reason a particular polling unit that had the election conducted yesterday did not upload their result as and when due? What excuse will they give us? For me, there's no excuse that will be acceptable in that regard, apart from compromise.
Now let's look at the presidential election, which the Minister for Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Ali Patami, categorically mentioned that allegedly there were about 12 million plus cyber attacks during the presidential election, and as of today we've not heard such information, because as at yesterday at the different polling units there were of course uploads of the beavers was working almost perfectly and there weren't interference. How do you think Nigerians should strengthen, or INEC should strengthen this the IREV and the INEC server against other elections, knowing well that we already have different deterrents to teach us? I think we should be learning from our mistakes and not concurrently making the same mistakes over and over again. So how would you advise INEC to strengthen? Because I know that in Nigeria of today, there are claims that of course there are young Nigerian technology savvy IT engineers who can do some of this work, but you will not engage them, maybe because of personal gains, as allegations have widely spread. So how do you think INEC should manage against 2027 without having these numerous cyber attacks?
It's not just enough for the Minister of Digital Economy and Communication to tell us the number of attacks. I think if you look at what the reaction that followed that particular assertion, many Nigerians who are experts in that field have questioned the veracity of that claim, because they are even calling on government to even allow an independent body to investigate and unravel whether the position of INEC and the government is in synchronization with what actually transpired. Because personally, I am not convinced that, because experts have argued that it is almost impossible to have that level and number of attacks within that period, considering their knowledge about technology in that regard.